أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Surah 31, Luqman, Meccan period. Title: Verses 13 to 19 of this surah contain the sage Luqman's advice to his son. Accordingly, the surah was named after him. Period of revelation. A careful study of the surah's contents indicates that it was revealed at a time when Islam's opponents had begun to adopt a variety of oppressive measures to arrest the spread of its message. At the time, however, this storm of hostility had not yet reached its peak. This seems to be indicated by verses 14 to 15, whereby those youths who had freshly converted to Islam were told that they ought to be dutiful to their parents, this being next only to their duty to God. At the same time, they were also directed to pay no heed to them if they prevented them from embracing Islam or compelled them to revert to their original polytheistic faith. The same directive is found in Surah Al-Ankabut, see verse 8. This shows that both surahs, Luqman and Al-Ankabut, were revealed around the same time. However, the content and overall stylistic features of these surahs suggest that of the two, Surah Luqman was revealed prior to Al-Ankabut. This because the former does not betray that it was revealed in the context of the unbelievers' vehement opposition to Islam. Conversely, anyone who reads Surah Al-Ankabut cannot fail to notice that it was revealed when the Muslims were being subjected to severe persecution. Subject matter and themes. The surah impresses on people the utter falsehood and absurdity of polytheism. Conversely, it stresses how absolutely sound and reasonable monotheism is. It also invites people to abandon blindly following the ways of their forefathers and to consider, with unbiased minds, what the Prophet, peace be upon him, was teaching them on God's behalf. They were also asked to look around and observe the innumerable signs in the universe and within their own beings that bore witness to the truth of the Prophet's teachings. In this regard, it also emphasizes that the Islamic call to acknowledge God as the only Lord is not new at all. It had not just risen for the first time in the world, nor was it new to the Arabian Peninsula. Monotheism was, therefore, neither bizarre nor alien to the Arabs. People known in the past for their knowledge, reason, and wisdom had said much the same that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was saying. It was also significant that in Arabia itself there had lived some time previously a sage called Luqman, whose wisdom and insight were proverbial among the Arabs. Thanks to this legendary fame, Luqman's maxims had become commonplace and were often quoted in day-to-day conversation, and had also found their way into oratory and poetry. People are being asked in this surah to consider the beliefs Luqman expounded and the morals he sought to promote. The implicit suggestion is that they should examine whether or not the beliefs and morals expounded by him conform with what the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was teaching them.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate.
Alif Lam Mim.
Alif Lam Mim.
Tilka ayatul kitabil hakim.
These are the verses of the wise book.
1. That is, verses of the book which is full of wisdom and whose every teaching is based on wisdom.
These are the verses of the wise book. That is, these are the verses of the book immersed in wisdom, a book every part of which is insightful and judicious.
هُدًى وَرَحْمَةً لِلْمُحْسِنِينَ.
A guidance and mercy for the doers of good.
2. That is, these verses give guidance to the right way and have been sent down as a mercy from God. But the people who can profit by this mercy and guidance are only those who adopt a righteous attitude, who wish to become good, who crave for their own well-being, whose quality is that they avoid the evil when they are warned of it, and follow the good when they are shown the ways to it. As for the wicked and mischievous people, they will neither profit by this guidance nor receive any share from this mercy.
الذين يقيمون الصلاة ويؤتون الزكاة وهم بالآخرة هم يوقنون الذين يقيمون الصلاة ويؤتون الزكاة وهم بالآخرة هم يوقنون
Who establish prayer and pay zakah, and have firm faith in the hereafter.
3. It does not mean that the righteous people bear only these three qualities. By using the common epithet of righteous for them, it has been pointed out that they refrain from all those evils which this book forbids and practice all those good things which this book enjoins. Then, the three qualities of the righteous person have been especially mentioned in order to show that all other good acts depend on these three things. They establish the salat which engenders God worship and piety as a permanent habit with them. They pay the zakat which strengthens the spirit of sacrifice in them, subdues the love of the world and arouses a desire for the goodwill of Allah. And they believe in the hereafter, which instills the sense of responsibility and answerability. This does not allow them to live like an animal which is free to graze at will in the pasture, but allows a man who is fully conscious of the fact that he is not independent but the slave of a master before whom he is answerable for all his activities of life. Owing to these three qualities, these righteous people are not the kind of the righteous persons who happen to do good just by chance, who may commit evil as often and as freely as they would do good. Contrary to this, these qualities inculcate in them an enduring system of thought and morality owing to which goodness issues forth from them in a regulated and systematic manner, and the evil, if at all committed, is committed just by chance. They do not have any deep-rooted motives, which might be arising from their own system of thought and morality and leading them on to the evil way under their own nature impulse.
أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون.
It is they who are on true guidance from their Lord, and it is they who shall prosper.
4. At the time when these verses were sent down, the disbelievers of Makkah thought, and said so openly, that Muhammad, peace be upon him, and those who accepted his message were wasting and ruining their lives. Therefore, it was stated with full force and emphasis, those are the ones who will be successful. That is, they will not ruin themselves as you seem to think in your ignorance, but they in fact are the ones who alone will attain true success, and the utter failures will be those who have refused to adopt this way. Here the one who regards true success as confined to the world, in the sense of material prosperity, will be fully missing the Quranic concept of it. To understand the real concept of the true success, one should study the following verses of the Quran along with the relevant ends. Surah Al-Baqarah, ayats 2-5, Surah Al-Imran, ayats 102, 130, 200, Surah Al-Madah, ayats 35, 90, Surah Al-An'am, ayat 21, Surah Al-Araf, ayat 7, 8157, Surah At-Tawbah, ayat 88, Surah Yunus, ayat 17, Surah An-Nahl, ayat 116, Surah Al-Hajj, ayat 77, Surah Al-Mu'minun, ayat 117, Surah An-Nur, ayat 51, Surah Ar-Rum, ayat 38.
ومن الناس من يشتري لهو الحديث ليضل عن سبيل الله بغير علم ويتخذها هزوا أولئك لهم عذاب مهين.
There are some human beings who purchase an enchanting diversion in order to lead people away from the way of Allah without having any knowledge, who hold the call to the way of Allah to ridicule. A humiliating chastisement awaits them.
5. That is, on the one hand, there is this mercy and guidance sent down by Allah, of which some people are taking full advantage, and on the other hand, there are also some unfortunate people living side by side with the fortunate ones, who are adopting this sort of attitude as against the revelations of Allah. 6. The words la wal hadith in the text imply such a thing as may allure and absorb a listener completely and make him heedless of everything else around him. Lexically, there is nothing derogatory in these words, but in custom and usage they apply to evil and useless and vain things, such as gossip, nonsensical talk, joking and jesting, legends and tales, singing and merrymaking, etc. Purchases, alluring tales may also mean that the person concerned adopts falsehood instead of the truth, turns away from the guidance and turns to those things which can neither benefit him in the world nor in the hereafter. But this is the metaphorical meaning. The real meaning of the sentence is that a person should purchase an absurd and useless thing for his money, and this is supported by many traditions. Ibn Hisham has related on the authority of Ibn Ishaq that when the disbelievers of Makkah could not stop the message of the Prophet, peace be upon him, from spreading in spite of their best efforts, Nadar bin Harith said to the people of Quraysh, "The way you are counteracting this man will avail you nothing. He has lived a lifetime among you. Until now he was the best of your men morally. He was the most truthful and the most trustworthy person among you. Now you say that he is a sorcerer, an enchanter and a poet and a madman. Who will believe all this? Don't the people know the way the sorcerers talk? Don't they know the enchanters and the way they conduct their business? Are they unaware of poetry and of the states of madness? Which of these accusations sticks to Muhammad, peace be upon him, by exploiting which you would turn the people's attention away from him? Look, I will tell you how to deal with him." Then he left Makkah for Iraq and managed to get from there legends and tales about the kings of Iran and Rustum and Isfandir and started to arrange tale-telling parties to distract the people from the Quran and to absorb them in the tales. The same tradition has been cited by Wahidi in Asbab an-Nazul on the authority of Kalbi and Muqatil. And according to Ibn Abbas, Nadar had bow singing girls also for the purpose. Whenever he heard that someone was coming under the Prophet's, peace be upon him, influence, he would impose a singing girl on him with the instruction, feed him and entertain him with your songs so that he is absorbed in you and distracted from the other side. This was the same device which the arch-criminals of the nations have been employing in every age. They try to get the common people so absorbed in fun and sport and musical entertainments in the name of culture that they are left with no time and sense to attend to the serious problems of life, and in their heedlessness they do not even feel what destruction they are being driven to. The same commentary of La wal Hadith has been reported from a large number of the companions and their immediate followers. Abdullah bin Masud was asked, "What does La wal Hadith mean in this verse?" He said thrice emphatically, "By God. It means singing." Ibn Jarir, Ibn Abi Shaba, Hakim, Bahaki. Similar traditions have been reported from scholars like Abdullah bin Abbas, Jabir bin Abdullah, Mujahid, Ikrimah, Said bin Jubair, Hassan Basri, and Makhul. Ibn Jarir, Ibn Abi Hatim and Tirmidhi have related on the authority of Abu Umama Bahili that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "It is not lawful to buy and sell and trade in singing girls nor is it lawful to take their price." In another tradition, the last sentence is to the effect, "It is unlawful to eat their price." Yet another tradition from Abu Umama is to the effect, "To teach music to slave girls and to trade in them is not lawful and their price is forbidden." All these ahadith also elucidate that the verse containing La wal Hadith was sent down in this very connection. Qadi Abu Bakr ibn al-Arabi has related in the Akam al-Quran a hadith from Abdullah bin Mubarak and Imam Malik on the authority of Anas, saying, that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "He who hears the song of a singing girl in a musical concert, will have molten lead poured into his ear on the day of judgment." In this connection, one should also note that the culture of music in those days flourished almost entirely through the slave girls. Free women had not yet become artists. That is why the Prophet, peace be upon him, spoke about trading in slave girls, and described their wages and earnings as their price, and used the word kana for the singing girl, which is specifically used for a slave girl in Arabic. 7. Without knowledge, may be connected with, buys, and also, lead astray. In the first case, it would mean, the ignorant foolish person buys this alluring thing and does not know that he is buying a ruinous thing at the cost of a highly valuable thing. On the one hand, there are the divine verses which are full of wisdom and guidance, which he can obtain without any cost, but he turns away from them. On the other hand, there are these absurd things, which are disastrous for his morals and he is expending his wealth to obtain them. In the second case, it would mean, he has come out to guide the people without any knowledge. He does not know what burden of sin he is taking on himself by trying to lead the people astray from Allah's way. 8. That is, this person wants to make fun of the divine revelations by alluring and absorbing the people in legends and tales and music. He intends that the invitation of the Quran should be derided and ridiculed and laughed away. He plans to fight the religion of God with the strategy that as soon as Muhammad, peace be upon him, should come out to recite revelations of God to the people, there should be a charming, sweet-voiced damsel giving her performance in a musical concert. On the one hand, a glitting storyteller telling tales and legends of Iran, on the other hand, the people should become so absorbed in these cultural activities that they may not be in a mood to hear anything about God and the morals and the hereafter. 9. This punishment will be in accordance with their crime. They want to debase and disgrace God's religion, His revelations and His messenger. God will take His vengeance on them by giving them a disgraceful torment.
وَإِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِ آيَاتُنَا وَلَّى مُسْتَكْبِرًا كَأَن لَّمْ يَسْمَعْهَا كَأَنَّ فِي أُذُنَيْهِ وَقْرًا فَبَشِّرْهُ بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ.
When our verses are recited to such a person, he arrogantly turns away as though he had not heard them, or as though there was a deafness in his ears. So announce to him the tidings of a grievous chastisement.
إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لَهُمْ جَنَّاتُ النَّعِيمِ.
Surely, those who believe and do good deeds shall have gardens of bliss.
10. Instead of saying, there are blessings of paradise, gardens, for them, it has been said, there are blissful gardens for them. In the first case, it would have meant this. They will enjoy the blessings but the gardens will not belong to them. In the second case, it automatically becomes evident that the whole gardens will be handed over to them, and they will take advantage of their blessings as an owner does of his own possession, and not like the one who is allowed to use something without giving him ownership rights over it.
خالدين فيها وعد الله حقا وهو العزيز الحكيم.
They shall abide in them forever. This is Allah's promise that shall come true. He is the most powerful, the most wise.
11. That is, nothing can withhold him from fulfilling his promise, and whatever he does is strictly according to the demands of wisdom and justice. The object of mentioning these two attributes of Allah after saying, this is a true promise of Allah, is to stress that Allah neither violates His promise willfully nor is there in this universe any such power as can prevent Him from fulfilling His promise. Therefore, there can be no chance that one may not receive what Allah has promised to give as a reward for faith and righteous deeds. Moreover, Allah's open promise to bestow this reward is entirely based on His wisdom and His justice. He does not misjudge. It cannot be that He may deprive a deserving person of his reward, and reward a non-deserving one instead. The people characterized by true faith and righteous deeds indeed deserve this reward and Allah will bestow this on them only. 12.
خلق السماوات بغير عمد ترونها وألقى في الأرض رواسي أن تميد بكم وبث فيها من كل دابة وأنزلنا من السماء ماء فأنبتنا فيها من كل زوج كريم.
He created the heavens without any pillars visible to you, and He placed mountains in the earth as pegs, lest it should turn topsy-turvy with you. And He dispersed all kinds of animals over the earth, and sent down water from the sky, causing all kinds of excellent plants to grow on it.
12. After the above introductory sentence, the discourse now turns to the real theme, i.e., the refutation of shirk and the invitation to Tawheed. 13. The actual words by Ghair-I Ahmad in Taranaha in the text may have two meanings. Sad face. 1. You can see for yourself that they stand without pillar, and 2. They stand on the pillars which you cannot see. Ibn Abbas and Mujahid have favored the second meaning, and many other commentators take the first meaning. If the meaning is expressed in terms of the natural sciences of the present day, it can be said that the countless stars and planets in the heaven have been established in their positions and orbits without any visible support and prop. There are no strings and wires which might have tied them together. There are no iron bars which might be withholding them from falling on one another. It is the law of gravitation which is supporting the system. This interpretation is according to the present-day knowledge. It may be that tomorrow some new addition to our knowledge enables us to interpret the reality better. 14. For explanation, see E. N. 12 of Surah An-Nahl. 15. Those